since it's one-handed, I can equip that to spell defense bonus. Might as well. No reason why I shouldn't, so... Okay. Let's go.
I've got it. Finished.
A fine great sword. Ow. Thanks for that. Now that I've got this fine great sword, I can probably equip that instead. Then we also have this ring. Fortitude, reflex, will. Put that on. Why not? Find these items, put them on, and get a few bonuses. Don't know how much good that'll do against a shadow, but whatever. There we go. Let's it off. Now I know I don't usually stream on weekdays, but you know, I wanted to stream a little more just to be able to get through these stuff quick, because the problem is we're doing it at weekends only, is of course it's an extra like 6-7 days until the next stream, so people have to wait forever to see me play these games and such. So obviously streaming a little more often where I can means I can get more done and such, but I still will post videos whenever I can as well. This doesn't sort of impede it, because this is just, obviously live streaming is a little easier because it's just an hour, and then just live streaming and then sorts of stuff out after that, so this won't mean I do videos any less or anything, although it has been a little less lately anyhow, which is a bit of a shame, but it's just trying to find the time and stuff, and also, if I'm completely honest, the effort, because after, you know, a couple of days of, you know, I do work for a while and I'm tired and that, and then I'm just like, I don't want to sit down and record and edit or anything, so there are just some days when I do a bunch of work or whatever, and then I just feel too tired to, you know, bother doing anything.
I've got it. Finished.
That's it.
Let's go.
Hate these. I hate the ooze. Now this area is flooded, but of course we did that switch up there, so there isn't anymore. In case you're wondering what it did. I'm just trying to remember where all the stuff is. Silver key. The only thing I'd say is how annoying it is how this music sort of like restarts every time you go into combat. Because, I mean, I don't think it's, for some situations it's right, but honestly, this song doesn't necessarily match the conflict every time. Like, it makes sense for creepy dungeon, ghost, stuff like this, but then when you're fighting on the surface against people or whatever, this doesn't seem quite the right tone. But whatever. Down here? Oh, the switch. Open this door.
I'll get it open.
So now we have flail, does 12 to 17 fast. I think if I equip that, then this, because the flail's fast and then the fine sword is average speed, which means I should be able to hit a little more now. Okay. The light rises from the bones as you approach. You have a moment to register the faintest image of a standing figure. Features a blur of mist or smoke before the world tilts. It is as if you have stepped sideways and into a new life. You are racing down a flight of stairs following a weaving circle of torchlight. Your own panting breaths are loud in your ears. Panic and your robes are like foul your steps, and you nearly stumble before a hand reaches out to grip your arm and steady you, a fellow acolyte who smiles encouragement as you reach the bottom. You turn around and pass the shallow reflection pool that marks the lowest point of the temple, following the dark shapes of the older priests as they lead their way towards the narrow hall that leads to the vault. You pass one of the torchbearers as you go. The harsh illumination of the flames reveals a familiar face. For a moment your awareness spans time and identity, and you think Rurton has joined you. Here at the bottom of the temple, in the memory, he glances at you for a moment and then looks past at someone else. I'll come back once they're gone, he's saying. You're being pressed along by the crowd and his words are growing faint. Just keep quiet, we can't take any chances. Inside the vault, golden relics gleam like welcoming stars. The memory twists, tearing you loose from one moment and plunging you into another like a flung doll. There is only darkness around you now. You think yourself blinded until the acknowledgement settles onto you like a cloak the candles have all burnt away. You know now too, with a sick certainty, that nobody is coming. There is a cracking noise somewhere to your left, a wet, slurping gurgle and a ragged sob. You cannot cease, you cannot know which brother or sister has fallen, and which digs after what but water a body may provide. You hear in the faint murmuring to your right the familiar cadence of prayer, but you no longer recognize the words. You are too tired to do harm. The thirst is like fire within you. Your tongue is thick in your throat, and every breath is a struggle that leeches strength from you. There is a light, they said, at the end of every bout of darkness, but this one does not end. The spirit releases you and you come back to yourself in pieces. Your vision clears and the vault around you is revealed once more, cast in muted hues by the sickly illumination of the soul still drifting like fading fog. Feel what of the spirit in ways, fraying at your own emotions. So, what's to be afraid of? You're already dead. Just, you know, just be pretty rude. Get away from me. I've had enough of you. Pretty rude again. I mean, it's not their fault. You're trying to help them. Then, yeah, be a little aggressive, angry. Not necessarily. Just, I'm sorry, and I hope you can find peace in your next life. Be nice. Just wish them well. The spirit seems to withdraw into itself. You sense less of its fear and confusion as it recedes, but the soul lingers still. No matter how many times I see you staring off at nothing, it doesn't get less weird. Gather the remains. You spend a few moments gathering up what you can find of the bones of the priest. It proves a heady and gruesome burden, but you manage to recover them all. Alright, let's go. Get the hell out of here. Sad that they were led down into the vault and promised that they'd be safe, only to be trapped in there until they all die of thirst, hunger, or perhaps even killed by their so-called brothers and sisters. Okay, let's just quickly camp, just get health back. Okay, let's go. As you step over the circle of candles, you hear a rattling clunk from the wall nearby. A door slides open with the grind and rasp of stone. The candles flicker gently as you approach. There is a gap above the altar, lined with broken glass where a mirror lay once have been sent to the wall.
Still burning. Not bad for a dead god. Redemption. They got this whole right for when you come of age. They take you by the hand and you descend through the temple with your eyes covered, and that's supposed to be like a wicked life. They don't tell you where you're going. I was sweating like crazy when I did mine. They take you to that reflecting pool back there, and you're allowed to look at it so you can face your sins. Then, you come out into this room and you uncover your eyes again and everyone's there to greet you, all your friends and family. It's like you've been redeemed. You light your candle, and it burns with the others. Never had a feeling better than that my whole life. They made him strong enough to survive time, but not thoughtlessness, looks like. It was nice to see those candles still burning. I figured they'd have gone out by now.
Well, you must have some pretty good, strong wicks and wax.
Welcome.
Witchin smiles nervously as you approach. Think I've sorted out the worst of it. Arm's still hurting a little less. He hesitates. You were down there a while. Did you find anything? His eyes dart constantly about the ruins. Nervous about something, mate? No, of course not. Just never good to linger around these places, that's all. Witchin gives you a searching look. Did you find anything? You lied to me. What? Witchin grins uncertainly. I was clear about everything, the risk involved. Is that what you mean? I did say there'd be spiders, and I'll pay you, of course, for the trouble. So, perception 12 we can notice, he seems pretty nervous for someone who's supposed to be honest. There's something on his conscience. or you can down just lift him off his feet and just threaten him. I always go the perception way, but that it seemed pretty scary lifting him off his feet. Richard scrubs fruitlessly at your arms, his eyes wide with shock. Oh wait, I don't know what you... He inhaled sharply, expression twisting. Maybe I knew where you'd find the bodies. Is that it? I'm sorry. Maybe we should go tell Lord Roderick what you've been accusing his people of. Throw the remains at his feet. He left them down there, or twist his injured arm. Not sorry enough. Intellect. Richard raises a hand, his expression pleading. Oh, wait, no, you can't. They'll kill me. Worse, maybe. It's why I needed your help in the first place. You don't understand. I tried to help them. I did. Every day, every single day, I went to that temple and I warned them. I told them that they were playing with fire and Roderick wouldn't be patient forever. And every time they'd shrug it off, like I didn't know what I was talking about. Like it was costing me coming in trying to help them. I could have been arrested right alongside them. You work for Roderick? Gives you a bleak laugh. Yes, but not anymore. It's been a long time since I held the blade. I knew what was coming. It was their own damn stupidity that kept them in there. I couldn't understand. Every warning I gave they ignored. The Rectrix, she said that they'd be reborn anyhow, so it didn't matter. So she got what she wanted, a martyrdom. Roderick ordered us to round them up, lock them in the cells. I convinced them to hide at least. They have that vault full of odd relics, gold and such. I thought they could hide in there, and once the guards left, they'd have something to serve a passage out of Deerwood back to Edir. But when I told the men that the priest had already gone, the order of the temple sealed, I couldn't get in again. Wooden shakes his head. There was nothing I could do. Nothing you could do but tell someone, get the town together, organize a rescue. I'd have dug them out with my own hands if I'd known. There were some of the last decent folk left in this hole. Now all we got left is people like you. You abandoned them to save himself. I told you the way of it, Woodin says, his voice rough. I told you what happened. I guess it's your turn now to make a decision. You're a coward, Woodin, but that's no crime. Give me my money and get out of my face. Woodin's stamp is bewildered. He grasps his belt in a panic and finally pulls a fat coin purse out for you to take. The moment it is in your hands, he takes off, scrambling to get away. 200 copper and we lose the bones. And he legs it. Yeah, you're a coward, but sadly that isn't a crime. So, you get to live, for now. A smithery. Oh, it seems pretty big. Pretty open space. Hello. Dude, I'm trying to talk to you. Don't walk away. This mole man is of impressive build, towering above the countertop. His skin is a dusky blue with deep erosions, and his thick arms boast corded muscle. Small ears frame a square-jawed face coated in black tattoos alike. He gives you a broad smile as you approach. Welcome. You're the first new face I've seen in quite some time. What can I do for you? Is this your shop? that it is. Been here near on 20 years now. Seen all manner of things over the years, good luck and bad. Glad that the gods sat and watched on the wall, but the Black Hammer smithery remains. What do you have here? You call each time the stock's not what it used to be, but we find weapons and armor to offer you yet, all forged right here at the Black Hammer. Of course you won't find anything finer anywhere else. 6,000 copper. Jesus Christ, it's not even that good. It does 10 to 23 piercing damage and a bit of constitution, but other than that, then 4,800 for a so that seems like a crossbow. Stiletto, 10 to 15. One thing I actually found interesting about this game is that they actually have aquabuses. Aquabus? Yeah, the old rifles that were used by the many people, like the Japanese and such. But yeah, I found that pretty interesting that they actually have, you know, rifles and stuff in the game. It was pretty interesting. And they have like these unique weapons with unique names and unique skills, but they're not stronger than their playing counterparts. They just usually have an extra property or two, and that's about it. They're not, honestly, I wouldn't say all of them were worth using. There are some that, you know, are worth using if they have a special effect that they do bleeding damage or, you know, that kind of thing. But of them, you know, basic ones that aren't worth the money you would pay for them. So, you know, make sure you make the right choice before you go spending your money on something. Now we can leave the good and go to Ustonwood. This makes me almost sad, you know, wandering through this place and there's all this just deadness. No life, no nothing.
Greetings.
Hold, madame, but a moment. A hooded man waits upon the road, clad in a green cloak. He strides forward to meet you as you approach, and at a close his features are revealed for those of a younger man, though lined with weariness. He appears to be favouring his left leg as he walks, and there is a dark stain upon the fabric of his trousers under the knee. Even so, he greets you with a polite bow. I do not know your purpose in travelling this road, friend, but I would warn you against it. He gestures up the path with a sweep of his arm. For the keep beyond belongs to that tyrant which calls himself Lord of Gilded Vale. Like many tyrants, he has surrounded himself with stronger men and women for fear of retribution. We should all welcome the assistance of a brave woman such as yourself, but I still think you would fare better with some allies. So who are you? Only man determined to see Gilded Vale restored to its former glory. There was a time when Gilded Vale was worthy of its name. The crops gleamed with gold and the village's people well. I don't know about the golden crops, but they will lie to. And what has become of it now? Whatever has caused the blight upon this land is not the fault of its people. It looks to punish us for crimes we have not committed, and in turn he is blind to his own. I am not, and he will pay for what he has done. I swear it by the flame. You should come with me. I sorely wish that I could, but I'd only hinder you further. One of Edric's lick-spitters slipped a dagger in my leg before he fell. May he be half so lucky in the next life. But it's not the leg which pains me. We all have too many to render his defensive, which is why I turn to you now for assistance. Then perhaps you'll fare better than we have. Listen, there is not much time, and if you would hazard your life for curiosity, perhaps you will do the same for a nobler purpose. Too long has Gilded Vale suffered under Edric's madness. He would cure Wedring's legacy by ensuring there are none alive left in the village to be afflicted. I fear his own wife, Ygritte, may be at risk. The man has no mercy in him. I would face him myself, and put a blade through his rotten heart, but our last attempt proved costly, and Lord Edric has called for reinforcements. Our times grow short, and in such times I must beg assistance where I can. I gather together what allies I have. Brave the keep if you dare. Sir Edric in his grave, and Gilded Vale count you as its saviour. May the gods guide your arm. Huh. Where far, raising the keep you on the eastern ward, with the dark ward, in the grip of the cursed out of silence. Yes. Black Meadow. I actually, I'll be honest, I didn't mean to go to Estonwood. I was meant to take the south exit, the south road out of Gilded Vale, but I took the eastern one instead. So, oops. A little bit of an oopsie on my part right there. Pretty stupid, but, you know, what can I do? Great.
Lavaru, be on cease! That's it!
Okay. Now if we go back this way... Oh great, bandit. Just what I need. Decent loot at least. Oh, really? Can you guys just get out of my way, please? Yeah, Magrin's Fog, here we go. A lot of loading screens, so we've got to go to a lot of different places. This is like the interesting thing about this, where, you know, you've actually got to travel to these locations to discover them before you can travel anywhere else. And you actually have to go to that, like, direction. So if it's south of a place, then you have to take the southern exit from that place to find it You can't just exit, you know, head north
Saw
and
you in the
magically end up
fields.
south. Durance. Squatting at the base of this statue is an incredibly ugly man. I like how they just say that, incredibly ugly, with bulging red cheeks racked by pox scars and a scraggly beard. He is sweating as if he has a fever, and his breathing is measured and steady, like a slow push of a blacksmith's bellows, but that comparison feels strange and unwelcome. The next comparison, probably sparked by his grin, is that of a bear trap, and out of nowhere there is a hint of an alchemic fire that fades almost as soon as you identify the smell. The question mark is barely there as the man makes the statement. The statue takes on a reddish cast as if one is holding a torch to it, then slowly blossoms into waving flames. The man doesn't turn as the statue blossoms
The
into
others are
fire.
welcome, but it's best if just you and I trade words, and your shadows stay quiet. Hands off their weapons, both arcane and steel. It's only you I want to trade words with anyway. I swear before the whore that is Margaret, no harm will come to you in her shadow. If that's enough of a promise for you. If not...
Except on the statue, the weaving firelight from the statue gives off no heat, so much so you wonder if it's some trick of the mind. Looking at the man before you doesn't seem to notice it or feel it, although the sheen on his brow is still present as if he's burning up from within. Study the man. The sudden weaving flames from the statue of Margaret cast more light on his features. Man robes are dirty, stained with grease and other marks of the road. The hems of his robes, including the sleeves, are burned at the edges as if he has walked a great distance across a fire and then reached into the flames with his hands to pull something out. But while his hands are thick and callous, they bear no burn or scorch marks. Gives us stuff. The staff looks thick, stout, of blackened ash once burned by a terrible fire. Beneath the ash, the lines in the wood bear shapes and patterns, and there's a certainty the staff was once something far more dangerous, but not now. Shrintos company, stone cold. The man smiles slightly at your words, then nods, never taking his eyes off you. I could do better, though the road holds little else. His eyes run the length of your frame, and he follows it with a sneer. Until
the world
now.
holds many whores we worship. Respect comes with honest titles. I bet even you have gone against instinct in exchange for a little copper, or paid for such incalculable. But if I give offense, if words are all that are left to a man, then why in the Deerwood of all places he should have leave to speak them?
Name and why exactly we're having this conversation, my
I
friend.
can give it. You probably find names as useless as I do. The names that litter this world like debris are hard enough to wrap around the tongue. And what do they matter? It's what's beneath the skin and the letters I care about. What burns within. It's more important to me you're a watcher than whatever culture or accent decorates your letters like awkward crowns. Take pride in your actions, not where you hail from, or how your name rolls off whatever liar's tongue coats it now. If you need a title to hang on me to match your own, Watcher, then call me Durance. And as you observe souls, I test them.
Like endurance. I can see the questions bubbling up. Let's burn them away one by
I am a
one.
missionary. I walk this diseased nation with its heathen, its people so careless with the spirits of others and their own. Watchers among them. Yes, I know you for what you are, and your name doesn't interest me. Names are for honest folk, and you are a crack that shines light from another place. We're meant to travel together, you and I. Saw you in the flames. Not your face, but that soul of yours. All tightened up, like a huntsman's knot.
And what exactly do you think you can offer me? Why do you think you're an asset to me?
There's things we can teach each other. If you're in need of answers to your mantle of questions. I don't force my words on anyone other than you. I don't care who walks with you or what their mewling problems and politics are. There's enough howling in the world without me stoking that fire. I won't take from your provisions, don't need much on the road. I can carry my weight, which is considerable. Many will stand against you. They probably already have, from what I can see. Left their marks, it seems. Like a trail, worming its way behind you.
If your little friend over there allows it, then by all means.
Don't fear her jealousy. Let us see what the road holds, Watcher.
Boom. Now 3 companions just like that. Nice. And he's actually pretty good to have, because you'll see he has Holy Radiance, so gives us endurance, deals burn damage, frightened, all that good stuff. And his spells, he has a load of them. Restoration, you know, restore endurance, suppression, he can deal damage, he can scare enemies, he can protect us, you know, give us boosts to stuff. He just has everything. Like, this guy is pretty good. Of course, he's relatively weak in and of itself. However, since he has like a novel or a dictionary worth of spells and such, he brings a lot to the table. Now we can start heading further east. The thing is, I think there are, what is it, 8 companions that are not in the White March, which is a separate place we'll get to later. And in the White March there are at least 3 that I know of. So there's like at least 10, if not more, companions in this game, all of whom offer unique dialogue to certain things. Like whenever you encounter a person or a situation, they'll sometimes have comments, as if it doesn't affect the dialogue, it just means they'll have something to say, just an extra little bit of info for you. Which is always interesting to hear their perspective on stuff. Like if you're talking to someone and such, they will often put in their own button with their own opinion, which is nice, you know, that your companions actually will interact with you depending on their own preferences and such. But again, it doesn't change anything, like the other people won't have anything to say about it, they're just saying it to you, really, for you to read. But yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, you can have a party of 5, I believe, so, you know, it's cool. Hey, we can talk to this guy. Just off the side of the path in Said Noah stands an imposing figure, a tall, thick-set Amulma, clad in worn armor and peering up at the outer walls of the keep. In his hand is a small piece of charcoal, and it works furiously at taking notes upon a small scrap of paper. More than once he has to reach up to prevent his colourful cap from falling off his head as he gazes upwards. That mouldy brickwork must be fascinating. The man looks over at you, blinking in surprise. His face splits in a wide and very toothy grin, and he waves the parchment in greeting.
Well, not the wall itself, perhaps. The construction is very traditional. There are names scratched upon some of the bricks. Just there. Workers and masons, I expect. Carving a little immortality for themselves. It's a fine keep, Caed Nua. 2 centuries to its name, and abandoned for nearly as long. But the truly interesting part is in there. And I haven't had much luck in reaching the keep itself. I hoped to find the master of this place, a man by the name of Maerwald. But it seems that he either holds his privacy most dear, or else has been devoured by his house guests. Oh, truly? Then perhaps we can help one another. The grounds are infested with all manner of beasts. I've never seen the like. I didn't want to risk it alone, but you seem capable. Together,
Alright, Simon, you doing alright, man?
And then we can both ask our questions of Maerwald.
You at work, or are you at home?
I seek a great treasure, you see. Not gold or silver, but Vitalvi Oratoa. You might call it the Book of Virtues. It's a sacred text of the Rauatai, but we possess only a fragment of it. A year I've journeyed in search of the rest, and I uncovered evidence that leads me to believe the original lies just there, beneath the keep. Excellent. Lead on, my friend, and I will be at your heels. Ah, wait. Speaking of that, I ought to warn you first. Wondrous teeth, I nearly forgot. I have, at times, been followed. It began in Adir, and in Exometal they attacked outright. I believe they do not wish for me to find what I am looking for.
Nice. So what kind of character have you built then, if you're playing this? Have you gone for, you know, ranged, one-handed, two-handed, or, you know, have you focused more on perhaps speech and such, or trying to avoid these types of situations?
I say believe, but I have been told as much by one of my would-be assassins. I paid them little mind. Humorless swords and long robes. But it's why I bought the sword, you see. And it's only fair that you should know.
Yeah, what's a few assassins between friends? Hey Simon, couple murders, what's a big deal, right? Death happens every day, it's not a problem.
I'm glad you're not discouraged. Come then. Who knows what we will find inside?
Okay, so I see the one-handed with shield wasn't really tickling your fancy. And yeah, the rangers and such I do find pretty interesting, because of course they get an animal companion, which is basically like an extra companion right off the bat who can deal damage and such. And of course some of them will deal more damage, some will have better damage reduction, some more health, and all sorts, so they do provide interesting bonuses and such. But of course the thing you've got to be careful is you have a sort of soul bond with that animal, so if that animal goes down during combat you will suffer negative effects as well, and that's reverse. If you go down then they'll suffer the effects. So you've got to actually be very careful when in combat with your like spirit animal, because they are likely to go down because they'll just charge in straight for the melee attacks. So yeah, you got to protect them, treat them well. But the good thing is, of course, you can actually select them in combat as well. They are a selectable companion you can like play as yourself, so you can always just get them to move away from the combat. Yeah, Gunnar is actually a pretty tall dude, and you'll see here his secondary weapon here is a two-handed bloody hell, select it, come on, a two-handed stalk, which is like a sword and such, but his primary weapon is an Aquabus. Like I said, extremely slow but very good damage, and of course it is a ranged weapon, so he can just sit at the back and deal damage. But this is definitely the interesting thing, because like I said before, it's nice to see these Aquabuses in the game, or is it Aquabai? But anyway, because obviously most games like this would just have, you know, bows and arrows, crossbows and such, which this game does have of course, but the fact that they've developed gunpowder as such to use things like Aquabuses and pistols and stuff, cutlasses and everything, as well as swords and stuff, it's quite interesting to, you know, see all that. Yeah, this was originally, of course, was released, I don't know when, but it was of course released for PC first, you know, sort of like, you know, World of Warcraft and all the other games back then, and then it was sort of remastered as such for console, which of course limits some of the controls as such, because you have to scroll across using joysticks and arrows and stuff, instead of just sliding across the screen with a mouse. But that's not so much a complaint as it is merely just a fact. If you're going to play on console, you've got to make do with your limited movement of the controls and such, because it just happens. But you know, it's not a big deal for me, honestly, because games like this I don't really mind so much. because, while it may seem strange, it's a lot easier for me to play on console for this kind of thing, because I'm just sort of used to it, especially with like the movement and stuff. But there are some...
This place has been abandoned for years.
That's because it has, you know, you don't hear the rumours. But anyway, yeah, a lot of strategy games I do play on PC, because, you know, it's good. Yeah, that's the thing about Formation, is it doesn't do much per se for combat and such. However, of course, they have their own ones. So they'll have the triangle, so 1, 2, 3, then 2 columns of 3. They're just one straight line, and then they have 2 of like your own custom ones. And this is of course interesting, because of course if you have more companions, like 6 companions, maybe animal companions and such as well, because of course I'm doing melee and these 2 are melee characters as well, so put them up front and then place like, you know, the range ones back here and such, so that when combat starts they'll be kept back. And of course the thing is that Aloth here uses spells and such rather than, you know, ranged weapons, so he casts spells from a distance but he has limited range. And then of course the Aquabus fires from quite far away for kinda here. But of course, since I have a melee character, I want to go up front and use like my barbaric blow and then my frenzy like straight away. Now I just gotta work our way to the keep. Okay, pause. Frenzy for you. Let's use one endurance a spell. There's a spell on him. Oh yeah, and also kind of uses chants, which basically, by chanting, he builds up his phrases, and when he gets enough, he can cast like these chants and spells and stuff, which obviously do damage and stuff, which I've found pretty interesting, that it's literally, he uses chant and then like Durant here, and that they just have regular spells they cast. So it's a completely different thing altogether here. And then you can also use scrolls like in Skyrim to cast spells. So there's all sorts of there's like thousands of mechanics in terms of combat. Combat can go millions of ways, and also depending on the type of enemy will change what type of damage they're weak to. Because of course if you're fighting a spirit or a phantom and such, swords aren't going to do much good, because of course, you know, they're not fully there per se physically, and you know, they float and stuff, so your sword will just go through them. So magic works better against them in that kind of situation. But then of course, like undead things and such, they suffer against fire and that more. I've got a spirit here. Spectral smoke churns all around you. At first you can see nothing except the haze, but gradually you make out the wizened, hunched shape of an old elven man. His face and both and arms are smeared with paint. Just listen to him, don't interrupt.
The Nine Claws have lived here almost 50 generations. We were here long before your kind brought war to our lands. You can't just burn it all. Have mercy, soldier. Our warriors have all gone. You can't burn us all because of them.
He reaches out to you and opens his mouth to say something. Borderline emerges a series of violent coughs. He falls to his knees, choking on the thickening smoke. Flames overtake the vision as you back away. So Caed Nua was attacked and burnt to the ground, pretty much. Huh. Well, now we can enter the Great Hall. Now, another very interesting mechanic about this game, which I actually really like, is that, spoiler alert, as we'll find out later though, is that this place, we get it. We get to have this place. You know, it becomes our place. And then you can upgrade it, as you see fit and such, which is super interesting. There's not many games have that where it gives you a stronghold and such. The thing about this is you can build a dungeon, then you can arrest people instead of just outright killing them and such. And, you know, you get followers and stuff to protect it and things. And then of course you get taxes, which gives you like a sort of income. Yeah, and also depending on what rooms you build, so libraries and such, you get bonuses whenever you rest there. Which obviously means for like, the next, you know, period of time and such, you can get bonuses to perception, law, whatever it may be. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. As you come to the end of the Great Hall, you perceive an inviting warmth radiating from a grand throne wrought out of marble, its masterful artistry out of plates amidst the castle's more practical stonework. The veiled face of a woman is carved above the throne's backing, watching over the room with hollow eyes. At your approach, you can feel the warmth fluctuate as though stirring. A voice rings out from the carving, permeating the fortress through stone and air. Yeah, no worries, Simon. I don't want you losing your job because you're watching me, so you do whatever you need to do.
Another watcher in Cadnua, glowing very brightly indeed to these eyes. What strange happenstance.
Looking for Merwold?
As am I. If you should happen to find him, I would be glad to know of it. Each day his absence brings new dust to my halls, new cracks to my stones. It's shameful is what it is. The Earl would never have let it come to this. You are free to search for him here. I will unbar the way.
So, this is your place?
Not as a land is its lord's. More as a child is its mother's. This castle was my design, you see. The Earl appointed me to do it. I was getting on in years. I knew it would be my only chance to build something magnificent. When it was built, I couldn't bring myself to part from it, to go back to my lonely home. I begged the Earl to let me stay, to take care of it. It was all I wanted, and he granted it. Years later, when Berith Susha finally came calling, I begged the Earl to find a way to let me remain, and so he did. I can feel his presence faintly somewhere deeper inside the keep. But he uses his gifts to confound me, and my senses are dulled while he does so. I only wish I could know his mind. Imprisoned? At times it feels that way, I suppose. But it's more that I reside here. The throne was brought up from the ruins, one of the first things they found. As a last favor to a dying woman, the Earl arranged for me to be moved into it. Audra is an accommodating vessel for a soul. Oh, it's not as confining as it seems. I can feel the whole keep from here, and all things that are tied to it. There's something about this throne and its construction. Or maybe it's something about this place. The Earl of Yenwood, the original in fact when Deerwood was a colony. He found this site, the only ruin Eir Glanfath refused to defend. And he believed its wealth would be great. The keep was his way of defending his family's claim, and that claim became his obsession. He had to know what lay beneath. He devoted his life to excavating the ruins below the keep. They had been sealed with rock and soil. Deliberately, it would seem. Years passed, and with them the Earl. He dug his entire life and never found what he sought. His obsession became his sons and his sons' sons. And one day, that young Earl broke through. An endless maze, incomprehensible in its construction. But he would never come to learn more than that. Vile things had taken residence there, vile and dangerous. They poured up through the keep and slew its residents, the Earl among them. After that, the keep remained abandoned, unused, wasted. Meowall's mastery of this place was the first hope I'd had in 200 years. How I've longed to see it as it once was. I can only guess why all this has happened. I fear I've wronged the gods putting this place here, and they've doomed me to watch it wear away into dust. To witness my own folly. He was a great man. He came here one day, young with long hair and polished armor, and he banished the dark things that had come to lurk in this place after centuries of neglect. He could see the beauty of this place, the way it had been, so he claimed it for his own when no one else would take it. We worked together to restore it. But he began to grow distant some time ago. He never told me why. He retreated deeper and deeper into the keep, never leaving, sending servants for food, hiding himself from my sight. The restoration stopped. Now, to look at the place, you'd never know the progress we've made. In most places, it's worse than it ever was. And all I can do is watch it crumble around me. Take care in your search. Many dangers lie in wait here.
Thank you, stewardess.
There's my little soldier. Been out playing soldier again, have we? Go wash up and come help me shuck these peas. Soldiers are important people. They defend the weak and punish the wicked. You're too young to understand now, but there are lots of wicked people. People like the man who murdered your father. Before you were born, the Glanfathans attacked settlers like us. They said we'd knocked over some of their special Adra rocks. That's why they call it the Broken Stone War. They got very angry, and so they came into our villages and killed many people. Your father. That's why you'll be a soldier one day. To protect and to avenge. Why don't you go back out and play? I'll finish up here.
I thought you wanted me to help with the peas. But okay, that's for me to do, I guess.
Braved out Mila.
Hello, all the spiders down here. At least there are no flies.
Braved out.
New orders, Lieutenant. Ready your squad.
So, spectral man arrayed in armor and office cloak studies a single sheet of paper. You can see straight through it to the Ducal, and the idea is on his breastplate. He seems to read over the page several times before looking up at you. When he does, his expression is unreadable.
There's been a change of plans. Take your squad and march south all the way to the bow in the river. Bring a wagon team and a dozen barrels of pitch.
His voice falters and he shakes his head. The hand holding the paper drops to his side.
The instructions come from Admet Hatred himself, which means they might as well have come from the Duke. We're to burn those hut dwellers out. Set fire to the Deerwood so they've nowhere to retreat. Cut them down when they come out. Or let them blaze if they won't. It'll make this even shorter than the Broken Stone War, all right. And we can only hope it'll discourage future conflicts. I know this is personal for you. It is for many of us. But understand, we're doing this to end this war, not to continue the last one. Remember that we're flushing out the enemy, not burning villages for sport. Barrett will have his work cut out for him tonight.
Okay.
We'll take those farmers by surprise.
Okay, well, Merwold's just here. So, yeah, I'll end the stream now. And next time we will, speak to that raider spirit dude. And then we'll go and see Merwold and see what he has to say. And, yeah, we'll also probably get control of the keep next time too, so that'll be exciting. But yeah, thank you Simon for joining me in such, and everyone else who dropped by too. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, remember to like, subscribe, turn notifications on and such. Of course, I'll be streaming tomorrow and Sunday as well, which is today actually, but regardless. So yeah, make sure you come and join them if you can. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you, Simon, and all that. Yeah, thank you, and goodbye.